Welcome to the Drive to Draw podcast. My name's Pete. Once again, in the studio with me is Phil Fechner. Mate, how was the week? Next question.
The week to forget, Pete.
Yep.
It's losses all round for me this week,
Yep.
Pete. Saturday was we're at Modbury and
Yes.
we played Modbury and we...
Were you on the grass or under the dome?
No, on the grass
Yep.
up the top, and probably should have won it as a team. My rink down on the last bowl of the day, which was mine.
Yes.
So 19-18 down. Then Wednesday, which was yesterday, team down again. Top side, we had West Lakes at home, which is Toorak at the moment. I went down by half a dozen, and the team went down by, all rinks down, but we did fight it out, which was a bit better. But I do want to mention quickly, Pete, and it's another loss under my belt.
Mate, I knew you were going to bring this up, and there's probably going to be someone who's smiling listening to this.
Yeah, probably. Oh, if Andrew Marr's tuned in,
Yes.
Congratulations to Andrew Marr, new player at Wharfield, like myself and Peter, and my pairs partner, Colin Schwartz, who moved over from Gawler just a couple of weeks ago, and we paired up. We were lucky enough to make the final. I think we're probably lucky to get to the final.
Yes.
We sort of scrambled there.
No, you got to take those wins when you get them.
But we got found out on Tuesday night by a very strong pairing of Andrew Marr and Peter Luckett, and congratulations to those boys. They beat us well and truly, and but an enjoyable night.
Absolutely, and that was down at Lockleys there.
Down at Lockleys, yeah. Thank the Lockleys Bowling Club
to Lockleys for allowing that to happen.
Yeah, we had a couple of drinks after there, and they were very hospitable, so it was, good night, good club.
Mate, as per usual, it's been an interesting week as far as bowls goes. This weekend being a little bit warmer than most. Hydrating now. I think everyone needs to probably get on that bandwagon. But let's get into Around the Greens.
Around the Greens.
All right, mate, I did say we were going to have a look at the Wednesday pennants, but I'm going to save that till next week because obviously this being the last Saturday game, I think we better cover it in a little bit more depth. Let's start off with Premier League, mate. Round 9 results.
Round 9. Some good games, Pete.
Yes.
Somerton was the first one, 85 to Westlake 74.
Yep.
The biggest winning rink there was Jeff Ayworth against Isaac Trenorden, 12. So big win to Jeff, a quality bowler.
Yes.
Lockleys, who are struggling, but still a very
competitive
club.
effort.
Yeah, 60 to Lockleys. Hawthorn 88, and it was Steve Jones 13 to Nibs, Aaron Niblet 31.
Yep.
So unfortunately, Jonesy copped a bit of a hiding there.
Yep.
The next one, I thought this is a bit of... they were down the bottom from us on Saturday at Modbury.
For me, I would have thought this would have been a little bit closer.
I would have put 13 or 14 shots, but it was 59 Modbury,
Adelaide
85, and John Nelson was the one that copped a bit of a stick from Scotty Tholborn, 9:30. Scotty getting over John there. So
some big scores happening at the moment.
Yeah, I had one Tuesday night, and I was on the end of it. Ascot 84, defeated Holdfast 68. I reckon you tipped. Did you tip Holdy? No, you didn't. You better not have.
No, I tipped
better
Ascot.
not have.
No, I tipped Ascot.
And my old mate Mitch Percy, 25.
Yep.
To young Liam Coe, 15. So Mitch getting on top of the young fella there.
I thought it'd be a competitive bout, but I thought Ascot was going to get always going to get the chocolates there as well.
The next one's the upset, I think, Peter, the round. Well,
it is.
Salisbury aren't upset. But
no.
Salisbury 81, defeated Grange 65. Mitch Walker, the biggest winning rink there, 27 over Isaac Jesser, 12. So, I just, picked Grange, I didn't think comfortably, but especially at Salisbury, I thought they'll be competitive, but they've had a comfortable win there.
Do you think Salisbury's the surprise packet of this year?
I think
or
they
is there another team that's in that Premier League that could be
I
surprising a few at the moment?
They're the ones that have surprised me. Graham Saw had a birthday too on Saturday.
Happy birthday!
Yeah, so happy birthday, Sawry. So,
what a way to celebrate!
Yeah, had a
big win, and then I'm sure they got
over the line though.
Yep,
can't remember offhand. So anyway, that was the round 9. Do we want to go to the table, Pete?
I reckon we have to.
Not much has changed there, I don't think.
No, but we're starting to see a little bit of separation now,
a little bit of a gap.
Yep, and there's some key games this weekend that might sort of open that up a little bit.
A big game there at Adelaide this week. So Somerton are 9-0, Ascot are 6-3, Hawthorn are 6 and 3, Adelaide 5 and 4, and Grange 5 and 4. And then it's a 4 and a 5 going down.
Yep.
So there's just a little bit of a, that Christmas, pre-Christmas, you got to get those wins on the board, don't you?
Banking points for the first half of the season are gold, really. And if you can get wins away from home, it's even better. So to those teams that are doing that at the moment, keep it up for the second half of the year. It's going to make it very interesting.
So we'll go our tips, eh, Pete?
I don't know whether you should listen to us.
Round 10.
Although...
Gee, I don't know. I reckon I went all right last week. I got Salisbury
I got
wrong.
Salisbury wrong there as well.
So we got Modbury and Somerton.
Ooh, I'm going to go Somerton.
Somerton for me. I think it'll be 10 and zip.
Yep.
Ascot versus West Lakes.
I'm going to go Ascot.
Ascot for me at home.
Yep.
Salisbury versus Holdfast.
Salisbury for me.
I'm going Holdy.
Okay.
It is at Salisbury, but Holdy's setup is quite good.
Yep.
We got the match of the round here, Pete.
Yep. Or Adelaide. One of the matches of the round. I think Ascot and West Lakes could be match of the round as well, but this one here for me is probably the match of the round.
I'll be there too. Yep. Adelaide versus Hawthorn.
I expect player interviews and,
no one wanted to talk to me Saturday.
Completely recall the game bowl by bowl. Adelaide v Hawthorn. Look, Adelaide are just starting to put things together nicely at the moment, but I reckon Hawthorn might just get them.
No, Adelaide for me. I did wave to Scotty and gave Scotty the thumbs up, but that was about it. I was busy on my own rank.
I would like to see the teams that are going to come out.
Actually, it'd be interesting to see.
For that, Hawthorn's teams are currently up at the moment. Doesn't look like there's been much change from last week to this week. But yeah, I'd like to see Adelaide's team before I pick them. I'm picking Hawthorn based upon what I can see here right now.
I'm going Adelaide, so I've got to go there and play this. So I might get after
you don't want to be booed out of there, mate.
Exactly. And the last game is Lockleys and Grange. At Lockleys, nice greens down there. Was a bit windy last
strange as things have happened, but I can't see Lockleys beating Grange.
Grange for me too.
Yep. So that's going to make it very interesting when it comes to the ladder because Hawthorn and Adelaide are playing each other 3rd v 4th.
Yes.
West Lakes are playing Somerton.
Yes.
So that's 1st v 6th. So it could create a little bit of separation there.
It's a big after Christmas for Modbury, isn't it?
It is a huge after Christmas. Yeah. Ascot obviously taking on West Lakes. Sorry, I thought Somerton was taking on West Lakes. Sorry, Ascot Park taking on West. So that's important for Ascot to maintain second spot, basically. Adelaide, if they win, that then bunches up the pack a little bit, and if Grange get up, that also bunches up that pack well. So
that sure does.
It's going to be an interesting turn of the new year for a lot of those teams.
Will be. Have Ascot got a new in this week? Is there a new in for
No, not this week.
No. I was just asking that question.
Still in the Magoos, doing what I need to do, but time is not permitting to be on the green as much as possible. Exactly right. But that could happen sooner rather than later. I hope anyway. Let's move on. Division 1.
Division 1. Good game here. Woodville and Payneham at Woodville it was. So I tipped Woodville there because home ground advantage. Yes. And they just got the chocolates. 70-67.
Now, Payneham have only gone down a couple of times this year by under 5 or 6 shots. So, it's almost one of those years you sort of go, we're one good win away from actually winning a couple in a row. So
they got a hard run though now. Yep. So Dave Muller was the biggest winning rink over Corey Searle there, 22-12 I think it was.
Yep.
Port Noarlunga, they're the team on the rise.
They're the one to watch for me.
Yeah, 93 to a good win over the bottom ranked Toorak 52.
Yep.
Anthony Moffat, we do mention his name a few times during this segment. 29 over Josh Bradley 9. So it's a huge win there for Anthony.
Absolutely. The game of the round, Millswood v Somerton.
And it was. Yep. And I tipped Somerton.
Yes.
I think you tipped
Millswood,
I
might have tipped Millswood, yep.
Millswood, 73 to Somerton 66. And we mentioned him last week, Andrew Stazanowski, 27 over Ray Wichello.
Yes.
13. So another good win to Stazza there.
Absolutely. And then This one was a surprise for me.
Yes.
Not a surprise for the team winning, but
I agree.
the amount.
Yep.
They must have had an absolute day out down at Marion.
Marion, 105 to Henley, 65. We had Ash Close again. He's 26 over at Neil Millard.
Yep,
Neil.
not Buddha.
No, I was going to say Buddha. Yeah, Panda.
Yes.
He only got 8 for the day, so, he would have been struggling there.
Yep.
But big win there to Marion.
Absolutely. They're stamping their authority, saying that we want to be up back in that Premier League, and they're doing everything right at the moment.
Wins, and away they go.
Exactly right. Now this one,
wow.
I reckon I might have actually tipped a draw here somewhere.
Oh.
I have to go back. To the highlights.
On that too.
But I did think it was going to be a close match, but it ended up in a draw.
Yeah,
so.
It was a draw, 76 all. Tranmere and Modbury. So Graham Young was just. Wasn't a real big win, but a handy win. Graham Young, 23 over Wayne Jones, 15.
Well, congratulations there go to both teams in playing out a draw. It's the kind of day you probably want to sit in the club rooms and have a few drinks and go, we'll just call it quits and call it even. Well done to both teams there. All right, let's talk about the ladder here because, again, it's starting to shape up a little bit.
We've seen a bit of a drop and a gain up.
Yep.
Marion 9 and zip, and this is the team that's come up. Port Nalunga 7 and 2, clear of Millswood 6 and 3.
Yep.
And some of them the ones that have just the last couple of weeks, fallen. They're 5, 3 and 1. So that's our top 4. I don't think that'll change, to be honest.
No, I think the top 2 are going to stay pretty much where they are as things go. Millswood might catch Port Nalunga, but it just depends on how the draw opens up.
And Tranmere could be the other side that might be vying there for that 4th spot.
And Toorak, Burnside and Paynham, obviously, with a bit of work to do for the second half of the year. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how that plays out. But we better do our tips for round 10.
Here they come. Good game first up. Millswood and Woodville. Millswood?
I'm going to go Millswood.
Millswood for me. Top versus, nearly the bottom. Second to bottom. Marion versus Paynham.
I think on last week's results for Marion specifically, winning the way that they did, I think they're going to go on with it again this week for me.
Marion for me.
Yep. Match of the round?
This one?
Yes.
Yes. Tranmere at home to Henley.
I'm going to go Tranmere.
Tranmere for me.
Again, that home ground advantage.
Yeah. Yep. And Henley come off of the greens and onto the...
I tell you now, the Henley greens are running really well. Played the state fours there a couple of weeks ago. Yep. Absolutely brilliant.
Summerton versus Toorak. So it's 4th versus bottom. So
I'm going to go Summerton, and it could be that little spark that they need just to kick him in the bum a little bit to get him going.
Yep.
And for the next one, Port Nalunga v Modbury.
Bit of a drive down to Port Nalunga there for the Modbury mob, and it's going to be a longer trip home, I reckon.
Yep.
Port Nalunga for me.
Book the caravan park down there at Port Nalunga and stay the night, maybe. Port Nalunga for me as
Port
well.
Nalunga.
Should be very, very interesting to see how that all plays out leading into the Christmas break, and we'll obviously talk about it next week. So, looking forward to that, and we'll obviously cover the first half of the Wednesday pennants in, say, Premier League and Division 1 there as well.
No worries.
All right, mate, let's get into some hot shots.
Second bowl here. Tell you what, for these conditions, it's a pretty handy start.
Pretty good, she's on it.
Great shot there.
Set to catch her up. Timmy looks like he's picked a good line.
Tim Hicks again.
Wow, this is unreal.
What are we watching here, folks? This is some top quality bowling shots overall. Josh Thompson here. He's not far off at all. Look at that for a bowl. Josh Thompson. Little bit.
So it'd be great for the viewers to pop an earful of that, maybe. There's a good area here.
Brett Davis, it's his turn to steal the spotlight.
All right, mate, everyone's favourite subject around the regions. Fire away, Phil.
Yeah, got a few listening up there in the Barossa, which is good.
Absolutely, love it.
You get some good feedback up there, and we're heading up there in the new year. We're going to Lindok to the new oval complex there, and we'll do a tee up there.
Yep,
and
we might even try and do a broadcast or an interview with a couple of people
absolutely.
up there.
Aaron Ayres is looking forward to us getting up there. He's got a couple bottles of red up there waiting for us, so they could be for the way home.
Perfect.
Probably.
Yes, absolutely. I like the sound of that. That'd be fantastic, mate.
Okay, we've got round 10 is done and dusted up in the Barossa. Newry played Kapunda, so it was, first versus fifth. Newry 92 versus Kapunda 68. And I wasn't going to mention that man this week because he gets a fair bit of airplay, but I have to this week.
You're talking about the mayor?
I haven't mucked it up.
Yep.
It's Stuart Forbes, 25, beat Cat Green. Sorry, no, I didn't get Cat's score, but he's obviously the biggest winning rink there.
Yep.
Cat probably be happy that I missed that score on there, but anyway, Stewie was the biggest winning rink.
Yep.
Lindok, very close game here. We know they're on the up and come.
Yes.
76, only just was the top side.
Yes.
Yadunda.
Yep.
72. Harry Sykes, who he's only lost one to Cat Green this year. Harry 29 over Turtle Curtis 14. So it's another big win to Harry's rink.
Yes.
Angaston, very tight game here, Pete.
They're not leaving much to the imagination, are they? There's been a few that have been a bit tight lately.
At the vineyards of Angaston there, yes. 77, Tanunda 76. Ooh. So I don't know whether it came down to the last sort of bowl or whatever, but Justin Morris was the biggest winning rink over Keith Ward, 25-17.
Yep,
was the biggest winning rink there. And the Mount Pleasant versus Freeling. The bottom of the table, you tip Freeling, I tip Mount Pleasant.
Yep. Mount
Pleasant 85, Freeling 76. Ooh. John Webb 33 to Ian Young 17. Now I did tip. I looked into the crystal ball last week, and Brendan Tahini he was my tip to be the biggest winning rink. Well, he actually got done. So
there you
Brendan,
go.
That's it. I'm not tipping you again. So
the crystal ball hasn't worked on this occasion.
It wasn't shining.
No.
So the ladder looks like this, Pete. Newry 7-3, Lindok 7-3. So she's tied up the top.
Yep.
One gap difference there to Angaston 6-4. Another one down to Yadunda 5-4-1, and Tanunda are 6-4, and that's at rink and points. Obviously, just keeping them down under Yadunda at the moment.
It's getting tight, mate. I know we're halfway through the season, and
you got Kapunda sniffing there too.
Well,
so
this is what I was saying. You've got a lot of clubs that are still viable in making finals.
Absolutely, and I've actually tipped Kapunda this week. We'll go through the tips in a minute, Pete. We'll do that now, actually.
Let's do it, mate.
Angaston.
No need to get the crystal ball out. We know.
Angaston, in the vineyards of Angaston there, in between all the vineyards, Angaston versus Mount Pleasant.
Angaston for me.
Angaston for me, and Brendan Tahini to go down comfortably.
You watch, he'll be the biggest winning rink this week.
Yeah, he probably will be. Lindok and Freeling at the beautiful Lindok Greens.
I'm going to go Lindok.
Lindok for me.
Yep.
This is the match of the round up there. Yadunda versus Newry. At Yadunda on the artificials.
Well, since Newry do have an artificial now.
They do.
I'm going to go Newry.
Newry for me.
Yep.
I think they'll keep their winning run going.
And I'm going to crystal ball right here.
Oh, here we go.
The mayor won't be the biggest rink.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
And, this is another good match. Kapunda and Tanunda.
I'm going to go Kapunda.
Under the hanger.
Under the hanger?
Yeah, I'm going Kapunda too. And Adrian Green to be the biggest winning rink there.
I would concur with your crystal ball there, mate. Fantastic stuff there.
Thank you.
In around the greens. All right, let's take a very quick break, and then we're going to get into our players' interview.
Liking this podcast? Please like, rate, and subscribe. Players interview.
And welcome to the 22nd End Players Interview tonight. Well, sort of Players Interview / Administrators interview here. We welcome along Brett Herbert from Bowls Australia to talk all things bowls, but we'll get you started with how you started your own bowls journey, mate.
Yeah, okay. So I started at a small town at Butte Bowling Club and still there. Been bowling for about 20 years. And, I guess my father got me into it. He was a bowler, mum's a bowler, brother's a bowler, so I really didn't have much choice.
They were still going, still bowling, or?
Yeah, the whole family still bowls. Dad and all at Butte still. Even though mum and dad have moved to Wallaroo, they still bowl at Butte. It's a great little club, great community. So, yep.
The old red and whites.
Yes, the Butte Roosters. However, one of my colleagues at Bowls Australia think we should be called the Butte Utes, but I'm not too sure about that.
There you go. There's a new segment we might have to bring out is nicknames for clubs there. The Butte Utes. I like it.
Yeah. No, I'm not sure that one's going to stick. I can bring it up, but I don't reckon it'll stick with I think the Roosters. We've been the footy, the Roosters for a long time. Yeah.
What age did you start, mate? Obviously, family getting you involved, but what age did you sort of don the whites? I'm assuming back then.
Yes, it was all whites then. I was in my late 20s. I'd played cricket. Butte had a very successful period in the cricket, so cracking into the top side was pretty difficult. I was still playing footy, and last game of the year, I broke a collarbone and everything else. Couldn't throw, couldn't bowl, couldn't bat in cricket. So had a year at Bowls and thought, well, this is far easier than standing in the outfield in 40 degrees. So stayed with it. Never went back to cricket after the one season. And, I've really enjoyed my Bowls journey.
Any club championships or state events that you were lucky enough to be in that went the distance?
I'll say no. I'm a 4-time runner-up to the legend of Bob Scott in the club champions. Have had somewhat success in pairs and that sort of thing at club level. Few championships, state triples. Bob, myself, and another guy, John Pridham, have got through a couple of times, and probably my highest achievement was we won the BPL Cup state qualifier and went to Pine Rivers in 2019, I think it was. Okay. That was certainly the highlight of my Bowls journey, and it's the best competition and the best prize in Bowls as far as I'm concerned. And now seeing it from Bowls Australia point of view and just how many people it involves, it's a terrific competition. And it's growing in SA more than any other state. So we've really taken it on board in the last couple of years.
We'll talk about that in a little while as part of your role, but obviously playing out in the country there, and Phil often does a little bit of a report on the Barossa Light during our episodes. Country Carnival's coming up pretty soon, and that's a special time of year for a lot of the country bowlers, isn't it?
Yeah, it's certainly my favourite time of year, Country Carnival. I've probably been to about 18 of them. Butte generally send 2 or 3 or 4, at times rinks of 4. We all stay together. We stay in a motel with some other clubs as well. We've had Cummins for a long time, Wallaroo, Cleve, Wirrala, clubs from all over the place. And we all stay at the same place, get along amazing, have a great time. Yeah, love Country Carnival. Catch up with people.
There.
Sorry?
A few late nights there, I'd say.
Oh, yeah. That's changed a little bit as I've, wise.
As you get older, yeah. I know the feeling.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some stories there. We could maybe have an After Dark special on a few of the shenanigans that go on during the Country Carnival.
No, what goes on Carnival stays on Carnival, boys. That's the rule.
Absolutely fair enough. And just looking at obviously some of the social media stuff that is happening at the moment, you're actually playing a sort of an internal trial against each other over the next few days, if I remember rightly.
In the
South versus North, isn't
it? South versus North, yep. Yes, yeah. So that's the annual association competition that we have. It's a little bit different format. I know you've spoke to Bob Scott about the change in format this year, and also with the heat now, we've brought it forward to the morning. But North versus South, we get along famously. Really good region, really competitive spirit, and they're usually pretty hotly contested games here. I'm looking forward to it on Sunday, actually, in the shed at Wallaroo, one of the best venues we have in South Australia.
Beautiful.
It'll be fun, but it'll be hotly contested. Well, very hot considering it's supposed to be 40.
I would, just looking from a side, I think the north's a bit stronger than the south, isn't it? Is that right?
History says that generally north has been stronger. South have been very good. Some of the clubs down there have got some younger bowlers, and they've come a long way in the last few years. And probably north, being Wallaroo, Moonta, is a bit of a retirement area. South has some of those as well in Stansbury, Edithburgh, but they've got a lot of young bowlers and they're good. It's a great competition.
And just before we move on to your role with Bowls Australia, Bob was talking about a new club that had got going up in that region there. How have they been tracking over the first part of the season?
Yeah, so Port Hughes you're referring to had a little bit to do. They're second to bottom. They're 2 and 5.
Yeah.
They're I reckon they'd be, because they're gelling and that sort of thing, I reckon they'd sort of be happy with that. They've got a few guys there that can certainly bowl, so they're no easy beats. We played them 4 or 5 weeks ago, and they were great. They were great spirited. They're really keen. I had a little bit to do with their inception initially. It's probably the first time in a fair while that a new bowls club has actually been established. So there was no template for what do we do here. They came to me and I really had no idea where to start. So with Louise at Bowls SA and myself, we got through it and they got it up and going, and it's a credit to them.
How long did it take for them to organise that? When did they start getting it going?
Yeah, well, they were pretty keen. They didn't want to sort of have it drag on another year and another year. So it was brought up pretty fresh after the end of last season, which is, in that March, April, I think they started to discuss it around then. The idea snowballed. They came to me and I pretty much went, yep, we can help you out. We worked with them, mostly a couple of guys mainly, but as well as forming the club, we also had to connect with the golf club at the Dunes, which is what their intention is long term.
Oh, yeah.
But just for now, they're playing at Wallaroo Mines. But long term, the hope is to become a really community club, golf, bowls, whatever other sports. Yeah, Port Hughes is a huge growth area, one of the biggest in the state.
Sounds like some positive times ahead there for sure.
Pete, we might have to go over there next year.
Yeah, bring the golf and the bowl shoes, and away we go. I
just want a couple of $1 million to build them a nice dome and a lovely deck to bowl on.
Absolutely
see what
amazing.
I can do.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see who we're connected to that we might be able to get that happening. Mate, that's fantastic. That's exactly part of the reason why we have got you on today, is to talk about your role, from the back end side of things that a lot of clubs can tap into and may not know that some of that stuff's available all the time to them, and your role from there. So, mate, we'll start with how many clubs you're assisting here in South Australia, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, sure. So, with the inclusion of Port Hughes, I think it's now 213 clubs that I deal with. Obviously, right across the state, we have our 8 regional regions, which I've visited all of them. I've been to Eyre Peninsula 3 or 4 times, Mid-North a fair bit, couple of trips to the southeast, the Riverland. I could talk on and on about the associations and the clubs in each of those regions. It's just a great job to go around and visit these clubs. Unfortunately, I don't get on the road as much as I want to, because you sort of can't. You'd have to just drive all the time and you wouldn't get anything done. But I do like to reach out to clubs and meet people personally. I think it's the best way to sort of find out about the club and how they roll.
It's nice to put a face to the voice that you hear too. They appreciate you meeting them too, so one-on-one.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I do talk to a lot of people on the phone via Teams even, but it's just not the same as in person. You can, you can see people's facial expressions. They can show you around the club, and that's the bit I love, is finding out about clubs and how they operate, how they've managed to survive, how they've funded, the revenue, how they've funded themselves. All those things that clubs do that I find amazing.
You mentioned a bit of the stuff that you're doing off the green there. Just explain to the listeners how that works and how Bowls Australia are overseeing that, not only at a local club level, but obviously at a national level as well.
Yeah, for sure. So we sort of group it into three main areas. One's online, then we go on green, and then we go off green. So when we talk about our role in clubs, that's the three main areas. The online part is your online presence. So if a club was to Google themselves, how do they look? If you had someone moving into your town who thought about playing bowls and they Googled you, what do they see? I've gone to clubs and I've Googled them previous to going in them, and it says the club's closed, and that only happened a few weeks ago. And so I try and give them an online presence, as well as, having a Google business page. Use social media is the immediate one. Mm-hmm. People need to market themselves. Social media, particularly Facebook, isn't just a place to, put up your scores and say, training's on Wednesday or whatever. It's your marketability on Facebook. People are on Facebook a lot. You're in their hands, you're in their lounge rooms. So you want to show your online presence to be really positive experience. So people then say, hey, that club looks awesome, I might go visit them. The other one is websites. So many clubs might not be aware, Bowls Australia supply a website available for every club in Australia. In the last 3 months, I've set up a few websites for clubs, probably about 10. I help set them up. We design them. It comes as a skeleton, but we can design them so it suits the club. Yep. And then I do training with club members, show them how to use it and how to best use it and how to keep it up to date. There's nothing worse than, again, Googling, finding a web page and nothing's been updated since 22 or something like that. So really important to have that online presence. And then the second one was on green. Well, that's reasonably self-explanatory. Get people to bowl more people bowling more often. But it's more non-pennant. So I aim around. In SA, we're really lucky. We have Night Owls, and Night Owls is a recognisable brand for people. You talk to people and they know what Night Owls is. Other states are quite envious of the Night Owls program. So because people know what it is, it's marketable, we try and really drum that home. And Bowls SA are doing a pretty good job now of marketing that as well. They've got a new logo. So, register your Night Owls with them and they can help market it for you. But most clubs are actually really quite good at it. So there is a few others, such as Jack Attack, which is a Bowls Australia initiative. And that's a shortened version, a bit like BPL Cup, to get people in to non-pennant play. The other one is BPL Cup. It's by far my favourite. More and more clubs are taking it on. And SA has been really quite successful. We had, I think you spoke about it a few weeks ago, Millsy,
yes,
and TJ and Blackie.
Yep.
And I think most of us will remember Millsy, running down and celebrating.
Cracker.
But yeah, and this time round we had a Berry in the final. So Cameron and Andrew and I can't remember, is it Karen maybe? But yeah, they drove it from the start. So Cam got to his club, said, let's have BPL Cup. They tried it once. They didn't get enough teams. They went again. Camo got on Facebook. To his credit, he's a young lad. I reckon he's only 19, Cameron.
Yep.
And he got off his butt and he got BPL Cup happening. He got enough teams. They qualified. Then they went to Bullaroo for their regional. And can you believe it? From Berry to Bullaroo and then to Modbury for the state final. So that's the long way round to get to Pine Rivers. But they got to the final. They were undefeated, I think, in the preliminary rounds.
Yep.
And I mean, if you've ever seen that, the final, Andrew was really unlucky on a couple of bowls. You know, it could have gone either way. But the mob them beat them, actually won it the previous year, Darren Morrison.
Yeah.
Yep. So pretty tough outfit, I reckon. And then the last thing is the off green. So that's more of the administrative side of it. Bowls Australia has come a long way in this area in the last couple of years. So they partnered with Club Map, which is a company in Queensland run by Terry Dillon. Terry used to run St Kilda, CEO of Hawthorn. He's been around clubs a lot, but now he's focusing on that grassroots area. So we've created the Resources Hub. You just go to bowls.clubmap.com.au and there is a massive amount of club resources in a large range of administrative areas such as fundraising, grants, committee structures. I know it sounds boring, but committee structures are really important at board level.
Yep.
And trying to modernise them. Too many committees are still in 1950. We need to get more modern with the structure. On there's heaps of videos and lots of topics to discuss for clubs. The Resource Hub, we also store the monthly webinars. So we have one a month for the past, I think we're up to 13 maybe. And we once a month on a Tuesday night, have a webinar. We get pretty good attendance out of them. We record them, put that on the Resource Hub. Clubs can go back and re-watch them. And we've had some ripper webinars, not only administration, but we've done a couple on Bowls Link for clubs that want to learn about how to run a competition, because clubs can run their own competition on Bowls Link. So we do a fair bit of that. And we did one on coaching, and that was by far our most popular. We had the HP team from Bowls Australia, which is Gary Willis, who's our national coach, Karen Murphy, James Reynolds did a talk on it. And you know, the coaching philosophy those guys have come up with is now award winning. So the HP team is doing a fantastic job.
It sounds like you've got a fair scope to cover there, but speaking to you yesterday briefly to just confirm that you were popping on today, you talked about that resource, and it's something that even me being around technology didn't actually know that resource was available to clubs and to bits and pieces like that. But like you said, social media is free, so if you can tap into that, it's certainly a bit of a bonus for clubs in that situation.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, the Resource Hub is really a great resource for clubs. There's one other thing that I'll just mention quickly about the Resource Hub is on there we have what we call a club health check. Clubs go in there, get a link that gets sent to them in 24 hours, and they do a club health check, and it just it gives them a self-assessment of where they're at in some of those or all of those areas. There's 12 different topics, and that's another way that clubs can assess them. And I'll get a copy of it. If they want to chat to me about it, I'm happy to. If they don't, well, that's fine too. It's really for their own acknowledgement.
You might need to add a player's health check.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was starting to sweat here because I thought you meant a player's health check. Yep. I thought I'd probably fail that.
Mate, one last thing just to get you out of here, bringing you back to South Australia in particular. A great initiative by yourself and Bowls SA in getting the junior schools comp up and running.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. We're really proud of this. It's it's come from, we had to lay the foundation. We really started from scratch. I went out to a region 2 years ago in the mid-north, so clubs like Bullaroo, Corn, Gladstone, and I used that area on purpose because Gladstone area particularly has raised some really good junior bowlers. You've got Blackie, of course, but Liam Coe and Daisy Coe. There's a lot of bowlers coming through that area. So I focused on that area, and we started a regional carnival, and I had a lot of help from the SAPSASA convener in that area. She was able to coordinate 6 schools, and we had a competition. And from that, we just slowly grew it. So eventually we got the state competition happening, and Bowls SA were fantastic. Like, they took what I'd had started as a regional competition in less than 6 months, and they got 20 teams to a state level competition, which we called the Schools Challenge. 20 teams, I think, was outstanding for a first year. So we worked really hard to get that up and going. And the aim at the end of it was to get our first ever state school team to the national championships. So from that 20 teams, we selected a squad and then cut it down and selected 10 players from that schools challenge to go to the national championships.
Under
we
12s?
were very sorry.
Under 12s?
No, this
Primary?
is a high school.
High school? High school?
Yep. So it's under 18. Yep. Actually, it's 18 and under because you can turn 18 that year.
Yep.
But it was.
How did we?
Yeah,
fare?
go.
Yeah, how did we fare?
Okay, it's a good question. We didn't win a lot. We're very new. Obviously, New South Wales, Queensland, and Victoria have been doing this for about 10 years.
Yep.
So we've got about 10 years to catch up. We entered a team. We didn't have any. I don't think we didn't have any state representatives in our team. We built it as a pathway initially. Yep. Western Australia were a lot like us. They had to start from scratch. We had what I'm most proud of is we had a team of boys and girls, country, metro. We had a brother sister from Corn, and we had a girl from Mount Gambier. So the spread of talent that we had from across the state was amazing. But we had some really high-end bowlers that, I'm thinking of Sammy Milkins, for example, who made the All-Australian squad.
Yep.
And, he bowls at Somerton. So some of these are high-caliber bowlers as well. But we did mix a bit of youth and inexperience with some high-caliber bowlers.
Mate, that sounds absolutely fantastic, and I'm assuming that that's happening again, or as we speak, in lieu of playing in the second championships, almost a bit like the AFLW, where the second iteration of teams have come in and are playing catch-up a little bit, but I don't think it'll take long for us to catch up.
No, I agree with that, and the more I get out to clubs, the more clubs want to get involved with schools. So, I'll just use one club as an example, and I hope I don't offend all the other clubs that have done the hard work, because there's plenty of them. But I was pretty involved with Toorak Burnside. So they came to me and said, we want to develop some juniors. It's not a space we're very good at. So they got off their butts and they had a crack. So we had a meeting with their junior committee. We reached out to the schools in their area. They had a couple of schools that were interested. So we started some I was doing some clinics with those schools, running some coaching. We did it after school. The school couldn't accommodate them in school hours, but the club was flexible enough to do it after school. It initially was going to be a 4-week program. It turned into a non-stop program. The kids are still going. They've had a couple join up, and I believe a couple of parents as well. So it's been very successful introducing new people into the club by connecting with the school. And I hope the more that we do this, the more that it grows, the more clubs use their initiative to connect with schools. I've done a school clinic today at Moonta. I did one yesterday with Brighton High School. So more and more clubs are starting to do it. And we all know they're our future. It might not be our focus non-stop, but it's certainly the future. And that pathway through from schools to clubs to then go compete in a national competition, to do that in 12-month period was really quite amazing.
Mate, sounds like you've got your hands full there. We better wind things up there and let you get back to it. But, mate, absolute pleasure to have you on the show talking about what's happening behind the scenes. A lot of people may or may not know that these things are happening and are available to them. So this is part of the reason why we started the podcast, was to try and get a bit more participation, not only online, but just talking about bowls in general, which we all love at various stages. There's the occasional where we don't love it as much, but that's generally comes with the wins and the losses. But no, absolutely enjoying it. And mate, I thank you for the work that you're doing and in bringing that next generation through.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And just to you guys, just quickly, I think it's outstanding what you're doing, raising the profile. Well done to you both. Keep it up. I'll make sure I tune in.
Sing out when there's a tournament up your way. We'll come up and
support it.
Come and support it.
Sounds great.
All right, mate.
Thanks, Brett.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you. See you guys.
Thank you, mate.
Liking this podcast? Please like, rate, and subscribe.
And we thank Brett Herbert there from Bowls Australia, obviously regional manager here for South Australia, but for Bowls Australia, for giving us some time there and obviously just going through some of the back-of-house intricacies that he deals with on a daily basis for clubs and competitions and BPL and basically he's got his hands full, as we've already talked about. Unbelievable that we're lucky enough to have somebody dedicated to doing that. And as he mentioned, what was it, Brighton coaching and then Moonta. So he's covering the kilometres there. Yeah. So congratulations go to Brett and the work that he's doing there. And if you need any support, get in contact through Bowls SA, and I'm sure they'll put you in the right direction. All right, let's get into the extra ends, mate. We're flying tonight.
Flying through it.
All right, let's kick us off with some tournaments.
We got the beautiful greens, the Semaphore Open Triples, Friday, 3rd of January, 5:30 for an evening, 5:30 for 6 p.m. start.
3 games of 8 ends.
Yeah. Well, that sounds all right.
Yeah.
Why don't we do
I reckon we put in a team, mate.
All right. Toorak, yes, I heard this yesterday because we're at Toorak Burnside yesterday. Toorak, the Australia Day, fantastic tournament up there. I won that a couple years ago. We had Malcolm selling books day
yes.
in the raffle. And,
yes.
So that's Australia Day Open 4s, 9:30 for 10 o'clock start, $30 per person. So
always a good day, and that's a Sunday this year.
It is.
You'd expect that if
great day out there, and it's a real because I got the diggers with the RSL there. And
that's right.
Yeah, it's a great day there.
Get your teams in. I know the 2 years ago when I played in it, filled in at the last minute. It was just wall-to-wall bowls, basically. Yeah. Every rink was taken up, and it was a good event. So, yes, and there is a smattering of other events if you do want to find out what's going on over this sort of shortened period over the Christmas break. Jump onto Bowls SA. They do have a list there. We'll try and promote as much as we possibly can. I know Modbury's coming up soon. I think there's
2 Wells tomorrow.
2 Wells.
2 Wells tomorrow
so,
with the boys.
There's a few there as well. So let us know, and we're more than happy to plug them as well. All right, let's move on to some national events. The Jackaroos, we're up in Canberra, just tuning up for some events that are coming up in the near future.
Just a training camp?
I think it was just a training camp. I would assume something to do with the AIS. Getting all their athletes together, a bit of an end of season sort of get together, train, a few beers. It's been a pretty successful 2024 for the Jackaroos as well. So absolutely fantastic event up there, and I'm sure I might actually touch base with Chris Flavel and see what happened there and maybe get him on the show to have a bit of a talk about it at some stage.
Yep.
Congratulations also go to Kane Nelson and Kira Burke, World Indoor Junior Champions for Australia. Again, I don't know if you saw any of the live streaming there,
No,
but
I didn't see any of the live stream.
very
I saw
impressive.
they'd won it.
Very impressive young couple
From?
there. Queensland. I think, and New South Wales, but don't
fine.
quote me on that, but I know it's certainly up in those northern states. So congratulations go to them. All right, mate, what everybody's been waiting for all night, apart from around the regions, but is our general questions and hot topics.
Oh, I thought it was a show finishing.
No, there's plenty that would say cut it off now. Stop. Wednesday night, Premier League pennants to get more top players playing. What are your thoughts, mate? I'm throwing it out there.
I don't mind it.
Because you see some of the
I
Victorian...
don't play Premier League.
No, but for a way of promoting the sport a little bit,
absolutely.
It could be a way of actually getting a few more of those top players to play during the week. Again, we've talked about it a little bit in the live streaming side of things. Could be an opportunity there. But also, for these players to get basically a practice during the week in a competitive environment. It could be a new element that does come to potentially Wednesday pennants.
Yeah. No,
I know Victoria do it, so I thought.
Oh, do they?
They do something.
Wednesday?
They do something similar, like a midweek.
I love the Friday nights.
Oh,
they're great. They live stream those Friday nights.
Yeah, and they
fantastic to
marquee
watch.
games. Well, that folds into our next hot topic question.
Wow,
is that should the NBA make more marquee games on a Friday night or a Saturday night for live streaming?
Absolutely. And is that right, Pete? We talked just before the show. There could be a couple marquee games in the new year.
In the new year, I believe that is something that is sort of on the cards or has been sort of discussed. So if that does happen, I think that can only be a positive thing. And not only does it allow clubs to have meals and
that's right,
put it on the TV and have it going,
cooking or pasties in the oven or something,
or if you're just down the road from the club that's actually playing, you actually go down there and sit and have a watch. So really looking forward to it. All right, mate, we better cut things off there. We've gone well and truly over time.
We have.
Most people would say
upset Peter Luket again.
We do it. We do it all the time.
That's not hard to do.
No, mate. Thank you once again.
Thanks, Pete.
We have to do better than this as per usual.
But
thank you for joining us today.
Mate.
Thank everybody out there. Like, rate, and subscribe, and we'll see you all next week.